Oh, what is this? Gothix, is it true that you made a video accusing me of being terrified of debating you, but you are in fact terrified of debating me? Oh, yuck. Don't fool yourself. Message Star Sand Gothix for an invite. I'm live right now. Is this happening right now, or is this a meme? She said she's live. Wait, let's give it the lookie. That you were streaming, is this right? Oh yeah, Monday stream live 2 hours ago. So what was this?
Granny Gothix, it is I, Granny Gothix here. Had some trouble getting the stream to start. Let me know if y'all can see me, if you can hear me. If I can see you, maybe.
Who the hell is this? Oh no, what happened? So was Vosh on the stream or nah? Nah? Sounds about right.
All right.
That shit went quick.
It happened, but that went a lot better than what I thought. And then I held my breath. Less than 24 hours later, you got something on TikTok. Look at this conservative something. I don't know what you mean.
It was a funny part. It was a funny clip.
I mean, it was a Hunter Avallone posted a clip. That's hilarious.
And then you accused me.
Can I respond?
Can I?
Would you like to hear? Absolutely. When I'm done talking. Okay, so then you posted something.
Good in that?
Okay. You don't. Okay, this is clearly we're off to a great start. This is exactly.
I mean, you're being super condescending. You say that I don't let you talk, and then you're not letting me talk.
Okay, I'm about to mute your ass in a second. Whoa, give me a second. All right, let's try again. Let's take it from the top. We got this. We can figure this out. Here we go. Welcome back. Welcome back, Hunter. Welcome back. You good? You cooled off?
I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and it's rather difficult. But
it's kind of hard to have a conversation if you keep interrupting people.
Well, okay, go ahead. Please continue making your point.
Thank you so much. So anyways, as I was saying, less than 24 hours later, you go on TikTok, you splice things together, and you call me a conservative. And that tells me you don't know me. You don't know my positions. You don't know my arguments, because I have never in the existence of making YouTube content referred to me as a conservative. So
I mean, here's the thing. Like, you can say all of that all the time. So she identifies as a libertarian who votes for Donald Trump. And when it comes to like politics and like electoral politics, votes with either the libertarians or the conservatives like 99% of the time. So you can say that, sure, but I can just say I don't know if she's a conservative, but she just backs almost everything conservatives do and always votes for either libertarians who are usually pretty conservative or conservative themselves. So okay. Here, I want to see something. Let me see if I can, Hunter's on TikTok, right? Hunter Avallone. Is he on here? Hunter Avallone, 72K followers. Oh, this had 155,000 views. Oof. Oh, what was this?
I think someone mentioned in here critical race theory. They also have this idea of queer theory in academia. They have other things like anti-racism. And if you actually read the text, all it is political correctness. It is enforcing identity politics.
Sorry, I gotta push back against that hardcore, because that's just factually incorrect in every conceivable way. So no, this is not some indoctrination of queer theory. I'm literally reading here right now from AP News, just because I wanted to double check, because I did a video on it a while ago. All they did, it was announced today that the Potato Head brand name and logo are dropping the Mr. They're proud to confirm that Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head aren't going anywhere and will still remain Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. It was the umbrella name that changed to Potato Head, and then there was still going to be a Mr. Potato Head and a Mrs. Potato Head. There was not a non-binary Mr. Potato Head introduced here. Like, this is not indoctrination, and if that would be like such a reach to claim it was.
Okay.
I think that there's something to
All right, well, thank you for agreeing.
I didn't. I just said okay.
Yeah, I just really quickly wanted to just for my own stream correct some misinformation that Gothix was saying before. So first of all, when we go to the Dr. Seuss thing, I just had to double check this again. Actually, there was not any big backlash that led to this. They literally said the decision was made after consulting experts and teachers. Lastly, I looked it up, and after they actually canceled those books, multiple Dr. Seuss books that were quote unquote politically correct actually spiked, and the company made a fuck ton more money solely off of just like the controversy, and some people liked it, some people didn't. But either way, this was proven to be a beneficial business move at the end of the day also. So just wanted to correct that misinformation. We can go on to the next topic.
Well, I do want to make you called out Gothix.
I really like the idea how originally she was like, okay. And then as soon as he responded, she's like, wait a second, let me respond. I just thought it was a little goofy. You know what I mean? Little sus, little goofy. Hey, what's up?
Gothix, so I want to make sure that if she wants the time to respond, she can.
Oh, hold on. So first of all, we're debating the semantics. We're debating the definition pretty much. We're debating what occurred versus not looking at the consequence. All I'm asking is, what is the purpose of canceling these things? If it's old stuff, it was made in the 1950s and nobody reads this book, like What is the purpose?
Well,
of
they gave the
canceling?
purpose.
And there's a point to this.
They already gave the purpose, though. They said that the purpose was because...
And you believe them.
Well, yes, because I don't live in delusion. But yeah, so they said that they thought that the books were hurtful and that they portrayed people that were wrong.
Wait, no, this is a good video. I see why this video kind of popped off. It's kind of hilarious. You believe them? Yes, because there has to be some pitchfork, blue-haired 14-year-old ready to cancel the Dr. Seuss Foundation, and that's the only reason why they changed it. And obviously they lie, and they always lie, because the real reason is the reason that I want to believe, because it's politically expedient for me, and it can't be any other reason. That's why. Okay, bud.
And that, in the midst of the controversy with the COVID-19 thing, completely made sense. Again, this benefited the company, so we know the reason, and we also know it wasn't because of anything to do with a mob, but it was a decision that was made after consulting experts and teachers. I'd be happy to send you this BBC article if you want. I don't know. Do you not trust the BBC? I don't know.
No, thank you. You can keep your article. You can continue, Dylan.
No, I won't be reading anything. Goodbye. Okay. Yeah, all right, lady. I just think it's
someone mentioned in here.
No, I wanted to look at some of the comments, but I'm not logging in either. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Give me proof. Here's your proof. I don't want your proof. Yeah, okay. Sure. Really your average conservative.
So how are you coming to that conclusion, Hunter?
Sure. So based on your video that you made about identity, I have no responsibility to validate your identity or the way that you perceive yourself. Also, you should really not be taking any, confidence in how other people are referring to you. After all, this is exactly what you said in your video about identity when it came to trans people. You said, it's not my responsibility to validate anyone else's identity or how they perceive themselves and respect their labels. And I would say the same to you then. So I'll call you a conservative or really whatever I want. Because again, what you said is it's no one's responsibility to validate another person. And it's not my responsibility to validate you. Second of all, you lied in your video, or not, I'm sorry, not in your video,
Hunter's
but you claimed I
her.
deceptively edited that TikTok when I did not. I simply shortened it down because I can only post 3 minutes, but I watched the full clip first to make sure, and I left out no context. Everything that was shown on TikTok was completely accurate.
Yeah, also, he didn't cut anything. We watched it live. I was there. I commentated the event. I remember that moment specifically. He didn't cut anything that she said or like that he said that left out some context. He like zoomed in on her face a couple of times and cut like some back and forth out, but most of the context, actually all of the context for that entire thing is still there. It's crazy how she says deceptively edited and not like edited to make me look stupid by zooming in on my face when I say I don't want the information that you offered to provide after I asked for information. It's just kind of weird.
Okay, well that's a lie. But let's go back. I want to touch. Hold on. I want to touch on the fact that you said it is not my job to represent you or whatever. First of all, I think you're getting the term validation and misrepresenting as well as encouraging different. Because I saw your little argument where you said that you don't want to do this towards kids. If you have a kid, you don't want to validate them. No, I will encourage my child. If my child says I want to be an astronaut, I will encourage my child. I'm not going to validate their existence. You know you're alive, and we're talking about adults, grown ass adults that want to be validated for how they identify. That ain't my job. That's no one's job.
You're asking me to do the same thing, though.
To your point, where you said that it's not your job, it's not your business. As someone that has a platform, and again, listen, I love capitalism. I love people making their money, doing whatever they want to do to make their money. You obviously like the fighting aspect, that way of making money. That's not really my thing. But in any case, I would be so cognizant about how I address people in a public space to not intentionally misrepresent them. It would be one thing
if misgender someone. What if they said that like they identified as a woman? What if they were biologically male but they identified as a woman? They asked to use she, her pronouns. Would you respect them?
If someone no. Because
why not?
Respect is earned. Respect is earned.
What is she talking about? If I don't like you, then I will always misgender you. Okay, well, why can't you say the same thing here? Well, I'm going to call you conservative because you haven't earned my respect.
Hello, nice to meet you. Please and thank you. That is a common.
Also, not only call her a conservative, call her white. Call her a white conservative. All right, because respect is earned, and when you earn my respect, then I'll call you a black liber dumb fuck or whatever you are.
The basic foundation for respect.
Even assimilating. You acknowledge though. Excuse me. In your video, you acknowledge though that pronoun usage was absolutely part of showing respect. You deliberately said that part of respect is saying please and thank you, ma'am. You mentioned the pronouns. You brought that in. No.
Pronouns, male and female. These aren't pronouns. This is reality.
Wait, this is reality. Is a pronoun. Male and female is a sexual characteristic.
And this has been male and female for all of existence. Male and females. We're adding all of these different labels to things. This is not reality.
What the hell is happening?
This is the disagreement that we're having here, and I think that you're not quite understanding, and that's okay because I didn't understand this for a long time either. But it's not about like for example, trans people. Okay, if someone's biologically male and they identify as a woman, they do not think that their biological penis magically becomes a vagina. They are aware of the fact that they
differentiate a little bit biologically there. And that realization manifests itself in gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is the uncomfortable mental illness associated with being trans, where they are painfully aware that there is a misalignment between their body and their gender identity. So no one is actually advocating to change anyone, or no one's saying that males and females is wrong or whatnot. They're simply saying that there's a difference between sex and gender. There absolutely is.
I get what you're saying. I understand that. I hear you. But we're talking about assimilation, and we're talking about acceptance. We're talking about two different things. If I see a guy that visibly looks like a dude and he calls himself a woman, he says, "Can you please use this pronoun?" I am not at liberty to. I'm not obligated to do
What
that.
if they're dressed like a woman? So
It doesn't matter.
But
It doesn't matter.
So for example, but it does.
It doesn't matter. Who are you transitioning for? Not
Hold on.
you, but who is you transitioning for? Are you transitioning for yourself, or you are transitioning for other people? Do
Well,
you want to
usually
feel
if you
comfortable in
identify
your
a certain
skin,
way,
or do you want
usually-
other people
Gothix,
to feel
wait.
comfortable?
Flip it on
When
her.
there are people identifying a certain way, it only follows that the reason you're identifying that way is because you also wish to be identified that way by broader society, first and foremost. Second of all, the medical consensus in this issue is literally that if you are suffering from gender dysphoria, you take steps to socially transition. So this idea that some big muscular dude is just walking around saying, "Call me a woman or else," is just very much a straw man. It does not happen very frequently. Most of the time, we just have people that are trans and they are literally following the medical advice by socially transitioning. And that's why I said in my video that pronouns are ultimately a form of utility. If someone is wearing a dress, has long hair, and goes by a feminine name and wears lipstick and they're trans and they're identifying this way, it makes way more sense from a utility sense to just refer to them as a she, her, rather than there's that guy over there who's actually trans, that they're like, that doesn't make sense.
Okay, let me say it from this perspective. I do not give a shit what anyone identify as. I don't care. You even
I don't
said
give
it
a
in
shit
your.
what you identify as.
I'm not asking you, Hunter.
You just
I'm
asked me
Yes,
not to
you
call you a
were.
conservative, and you identify as politically
I'm
homeless. I'm not going to
asking
respect that.
I'm asking you to stop misrepresenting me.
Will
I
you
didn't
stop
say.
misrepresenting trans people as their wrong pronouns and wrong gender? I will
You're-
100% follow.
I will
your
break that
wishes as
argument
well.
right now because I
Go
am
ahead.
friends with so many people in the trans community that do not.
Oh, here it is. Oh, okay. I'll break that argument. I'll have you know I have a trans friend. Okay, like, come on. Hey, listen, I'll have you know I have a conservative friend. His name is Counterpoints. Cool guy. All right. I have a conservative friend. All right. His name is Counterpoints. He doesn't like you.
Subscribe to this nonsense of asking people to adopt to the way that you see yourselves. The trans people that I know, I can call them a man or a woman, and they're fine. They'll not skip a beat. They'll go about
That's
their day. So
great, I
why
guess,
can't
but-
that
What
be
the
the
fuck?
standard? And instead, we resort to saying that's transphobic.
Well, I
that
have a lot of
tells
friends
me
that are
that you
politically
can
homeless
you just shut up and listen.
You've been talking for the last like 15 seconds. Here.
It's
I thought
my
you
It is her
were-
stream.
It's my show. I'm trying to meet you midway. Honestly, Hunter, I don't like this back and forth. I really.
This is not midway. Okay, so just so you know, midway is not you come onto my stream, I get to control the entire conversation. Also, my mod is the one that's like arbitrating this discussion, and I just like kick you out whenever I don't like you. That's not halfway, all right? This is, you know what? That's abusive, actually, to call this halfway.
Really don't. I have never made a video dedicated to one specific YouTuber. I have been on the defense since I started making content. I do not enjoy this. This is not productive.
Can I? Okay, well, if you want me to leave, that's fine. But
I
can
don't
you just
want to leave.
Well, you,
You
said
said
you didn't like this
for a
conversation, so what am I supposed to take from this? I also wanted
Can
to
I
ask
step in for a
Arsan
second?
how she thinks that I have become far more emotional since walking away from the right. My positions have only largely grown in like basis in like empirical evidence and whatnot. So I would like to know how I am more emotional now.
Here's what I will tell you first, Hunter. I followed you a long time ago, back when I was much less noticing of what is on YouTube.
Just so you know, the person talking here is supposed to be the mod. They're supposed to be moderating this discussion. And now they've jumped in for the debate as well. Just so you know, this is Gothix meeting you halfway. Honestly, Gothix, if you ever watch this, you probably won't. But if you ever watch this, this isn't saying much about your debate skills. You are handicapping yourself so hard if your version of halfway is your platform, all of your rules, and your like personal like ass eater is the one who's moderating the discussion. That's not halfway. If that's halfway for you, then honestly, it makes a lot of sense for your performance on the Hippy Dippy. It makes a lot of sense listening to this, your performance on Hippy Dippy, if that's what you call halfway. If you need to handicap yourself like that bad to make it halfway with someone who just like stumbled onto your platform, then ooh, that's not a good look, Chief. Listen, I mean, I don't think it would be fair, but I could like hold my own against like 3 conservatives in a call. Now, would it be the most productive call? Maybe not, but I can get my points across and I could fend off myself from all 3 of them and still probably look pretty okay. Especially especially depending on the topic. If I'm like really versed in it, I can like beat all their ass because it doesn't matter like who's there if they're all wrong and I'm right. All I need to do is speak and I'll be correct. But apparently for Gothix, it won't work out like that. So she has to bring people into her like snuggle box her own like little universe where she gets to control all the rules, and this is the only time where she could ever debate someone, and she calls it like even and halfway. It's really funny, you know.
I'm going to clarify a few things. What you're misunderstanding about what Gothix is saying, and even Gothix and I don't agree to a total point on this, is she's not saying she will refuse point blank to ever refer to someone as a preferred pronouns. What she's saying is she is not going to give that respect to someone that she neither knows and that doesn't know her, and will just walk up to her and say, you have to address me like this because it makes me feel good. I don't know you from a hole in the wall. I don't have to do jack shit.
About me addressing her as conservative.
No, she is not. It's a difference. What you're saying is that this is a conservative that you've owned, and all she's saying is if you're going to talk about me being a conservative, this is not a conservative. I am just someone out there. But at the end of the day,
I'm just someone. What the fuck is this argument? I'm not a conservative. I'm just someone out there. Is not like some random conservative, not like also someone that's out there. What are you talking about? What is this? What is this shit? It's insane to me. What's happening? What are you people? What's the difference? There is no difference. Oh, my bad. Sorry. The difference is she doesn't like it when people mislabel her, but she wants to be able to mislabel people that she doesn't like. Or my bad, doesn't know. That's the real difference. Okay. If I don't like Gothix, by her logic, I should be able to call her whatever I want and label her whatever I want, whatever I feel like, because respect is earned. I don't know her and I don't like her. So I should be able to do whatever I want when it comes to referencing her. She doesn't like that though. It's rules for me, but not for thee, you know, and rules for thee, but not for me. So she gets to dictate how everybody else references her. And if actually, you know what Hunter should do? He should start like misgendering her. Just start calling her him, Gothix, him, that male streamer. Just start doing it. Just start misgendering her, and just keep going with that conversation. And every time you speak, every sentence, just add like him to it the entire time. Just call him like conservative male streamer, and just do that the entire time. Because if that's the case, then just call her white male conservative streamer. Just do that, because that's her rules. Like that's the rules she uses for other people, right?
We don't care what you call us. We really don't.
So what are some ideas that Gothix agrees with on the left? Gothix, what are some ideas that you agree with the left?
I'd be so happy to hear them. I don't generalize ideas on the left because I realize and recognize diversity of thought. So you tell me, we probably have a lot more in common than you think, but we're never going to get to that point if this is if you're going into this with the intention of making.
You asked the question, you could just answer it. You could just list off some policy proposals that you agree with on the left, but instead she's going on this tirade.
Clickbait.
Call her
I'm
white,
not telling you
white man.
got deleted tomorrow. I'd be Gucci. I'd be good.
I'm trying to talk. I'm literally just asking. You say you're politically homeless. You don't like that I'm calling you conservative. So I'm asking you, what are some ideas that are generally associated with the left that you associate yourself with or you agree with?
You're gonna have to let me know. I have not.
Are you in favor of stronger social safety nets? Do you want stronger welfare? Do you want more? Do you want a higher minimum wage?
No, none of that. No.
Okay. Do you want worker owned means of production? That's like the further lefty stuff that I'm not in favor of either. But
no.
I'm trying to get general.
She doesn't even know what that means.
Do you mean like more unions, or do you mean like where the workers are more private business instead of big business?
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you repeat?
The fuck? What the fuck's happening? I'm so mad. I'm so mad. You're so uneducated. It makes me upset. Man, I work so hard. I read. I listen to theory. I try to find like proper citations, and these people just rattle off dumb shit, and this is where they are. She has 200,000 subs. What the fuck's happening here? She doesn't even know what the hell she's talking about. Oh my gosh.
Repeat that question.
Okay, so when you say more worker-owned businesses, are you meaning more like they have more stock, like they own stock in the business? Do you mean they're unionized, or do you mean that they actually own the business?
Talking about communism? Is that what we're talking about?
So there's the.
What the fuck is that? I hate it. I hate it. It's just so fucking dumb. You're talking communism? What communism? Man, I hate my life, dude. I never should have gotten into politics. This is fucking brutal, man. This is weaponized stupidity. This is the shit they play for lefties in Gitmo, man.
I'm a social democrat, so I believe in stronger social safety nets. We can basically just look at like other countries and see where they have stronger social safety nets. Universal healthcare, stronger welfare, a UBI would be great. We see a larger and more efficient level of economic mobility in other countries that tend to adopt these policies. So I'm a social democrat. However, a further left idea, which I do not subscribe to, is that the workers should own the means of production. What that means is that, yes, they don't just own stock. There's not just strong unions. I'm in favor of strong unions. They actually like would seize the means of production from the owner, and then they would all begin to like take a share based on how much work they put into that company.
Okay, so I have the idea concrete in my head. So that means like, let's say I owned a business and you and Gothix were my workers. And
why the fuck are we explaining workers owned, publicly owned companies now? What's happening? How did we get I I can't do it. I'm so upset. Remember, this is the lady. This is the lady, and this is the person who's adjacent to her, who like quoted like Mao Zedong. Okay, Mao Zedong's Little Red Book. That's what this is the person, all right, who's like, communism. She was like, read some Mao, and then you'll understand. This is a Marxist tactic. Oh yeah, dude. I agree with a lot of policies on the left. What policies on the left do you agree with? I don't know. Name one. How about all of these policies? No. Okay.
Both of you were on my production line. Let's say you're building teddy bears, and you have both decided that Hunter, you're going to own the stuffing of the teddy bears, and Gothix, you're going to own the outer shell of the teddy bears. And I no longer get the right to them because you have decided on your own that is yours now, and
well,
I have to find a way to get it. No, but I'm asking. I'm trying to get the idea.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, I'm not for that either.
Yeah,
so
no.
then that would be something we do agree on.
There would also be no owner in that situation, and like you wouldn't be an employee of that person in this system. But you know, whatever. I guess it's not like any of us know what's going on here, anyways.
Okay, sure. I'm trying to think of like what ideas are or what
I have a
positions
simple
are
one.
generally seen as like a little bit more left liberal.
Let me put it this way. There's probably a lot more policies and ideas that I agreed with when I was on the left, but I did not ask enough questions. Like, for example, if you had asked me before I walked away from the left, I would have said I'm in favor for more welfare. But now understanding what it's done, especially to the Black community and how people are stuck in that cycle, I am absolutely not in favor of that.
Sure. So that might be something we could agree with. So do you believe in any element of like systemic racism? Like if there's a policy like welfare that's disproportionately negatively impacting Black people, that would be a like sign of systemic racism. So would you agree with like that element? I mean, we might be able to find some common ground there.
No, I'm going to have to decline on that because systemic racism in particular, if we just take away the words, take away the meaning of systemic racism, it's this idea that this is somehow preventing someone of doing something, but it's not. We all have personal choices. And I know people like to say, roll up your bootstraps, do whatever. If that's the term we got to use, that's the term we got to use. But I have people in my family that have dealt with racism, but you don't hear about it. They just do the thing.
I don't care about her personal anecdotes. Get ready. It gets worse. It gets worse. Where are the lefty policies you agree with? Where are they? So social issues, she doesn't agree with lefties. She said she wants to misgender everybody that she doesn't like or know. Like economic issues, she doesn't agree with. She doesn't believe in she wants people to just kind of get fucked if they're super poor or something. I don't know. So I don't. Where are the policies on the left that you agree with? What is it? It seems like she's just a conservative. I don't care if you don't call yourself that. It seems like what you are. Okay, this is reality. This is a fact.
And I actually would agree. So I would agree with you there, but I think that we might still be able to find common ground. So let me try to explain this really quick. So this doesn't have to be a dichotomy. So it's not actually systemic racism versus pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I believe that, let's look around in this country that we live in. There are systems, quote unquote, in every facet of life, more or less, right? We have the criminal justice system. That's the system that we go through if we're being prosecuted for a crime or whatever. We're all sort of a product, more or less, of the systems around us. So I agree with you that within these systems, absolutely, you should work to, quote unquote, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, work as hard as you possibly can to maximize your outcomes. However, the systems in place, you don't always have individual control over that. So when we're talking about personal responsibility, that's something that needs to be instilled on a family level. That's not really something that the government can necessarily do. What the government can do as far as policy is provide stronger social safety nets and whatnot. And with that also, we can talk about systemic racism and how that manifests itself. And again, I just want to be crystal clear. When I'm talking about systemic racism, I am not saying that.
You know what? You're right. You're right. The lefty policy she agrees with is fancy glasses, a nose ring, and an undercut. That's the lefty policy that she agrees with. Okay, and that's why she's not a conservative. Because honestly, this is the closest that I've been able to see to a lefty policy she agrees with. So you can say that, but it seems like that's literally it.
Black people are incapable of doing anything because racism is in their way. I'm simply saying that there are actually systems in place that have been empirically proven to disproportionately negatively affect Black people, and we can fix that without needing to talk about or without even ever bringing up white people bad or Black people can't do it or whatever.
Can you give me an example of a system?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the criminal justice system is a very clear-cut one about basically when we look at even if we want to go to so police violence, we talk about this a lot, and I know the response to that is, well, Black people commit more crime, and I would say, yeah, that's true, but why do Black people commit more crime? And it's because they are in communities that are disproportionately poor, and with poverty comes more crime. It's absolutely true that you can't deny this. This is an empirically proven fact, and the reason they are in these disproportionately poor areas,
as you see, Hunter Avallone, the reason why they commit more crime is because they bump hip hop that say the word bitch and they lowrider so loud it makes them incapable of working good job and going to school. This is the whole reason. And if they just stop, everything would be great. That's the reason, Hunter.
Is due to
How
policies
could
in
you
the
not have
past,
seen
like
it?
redlining, that forced Black people into less than ideal communities and deprived them of being able to actually build equity in this like amazing country at the time. They were prohibited from doing that, and we all can recognize how policies can have generational impacts. This is still hurting the Black community today.
Okay, respectfully, you are making a generalized statement about the Black community when you say that. I grew up.
I fucking
I
hate
grew up.
No, don't do it, please. I beg of you, please. There needs to be like, okay, you know what? I'm for the Elon Musk brain chips, okay? I'm for it. I'm for it now. If we can implant those Elon Musk brain chips into like conservatives, actually all of us, okay? All of us, to where when we're in a discussion, when we're debating, they are incapable of going into an anecdote. Like they literally cannot, they physically cannot utter the words. Well, when I was in my family, like those things, just those things that start off an anecdote sentence, if we could just cut off that pathway in their brain, it would make the world a better place. That's what we need. If that's it, I'm all for the brain chips. Hook me in, Poppy. All right, hook me in, because this shit is like, this is deadly. You're making a generalized statement. Yes, that's the only way we can make statements about a community is a generalized statement. What are you talking about, lady? Or my bad, sir? I'm sorry. I don't respect people I don't like gender.
In the hood, and I have a cousin right now that is incarcerated for several things, and he was in a good family members, entrepreneurs. He got caught up in the wrong friend group and did stuff because he wanted to be cool. And I
like
see
gang
this
violence and stuff.
Over and over again. I'll see this. But they inject themselves into that through means of culture. It's not something that is, here is this area of Black people and crime. Yeah, let's get to the bottom of that. Why is it that crime is so high? Why are crimes getting committed? Why are crimes getting committed in the first place? I've been laid off. I've had negative balance in my checking account. I've had some terrible living situations. I've never stabbed nobody. I've never killed nobody.
I'm not asking about your personal experience necessarily, because I can't speak to that. But I'm also not.
Then why are you talking about it? I don't care. I don't care. I need to. You know what? Maybe in these debates, I think the first thing that we need to do is just be like, I don't care about your own personal situation. You don't care about my personal situation, and I don't care about yours. I don't care about what your family did. I don't care about what your cousin who live in the hood who bump he lowrider so hard. I don't care that you personally haven't stabbed someone over a Snickers bar at the local corner store. I don't care. It doesn't matter. We're talking about an entire population and what we see in broad strokes during those populations. I don't care. I don't care. I need to, I don't know, like something needs to happen, maybe like a saw trap or something, and it tightens around their neck every time they bring up a new anecdote, just something.
Generalizing anything. It is an empirically proven fact.
Shock collar. A shock collar. There we go. I need a neutral mod. Get Dylan Burns, okay? And we both put on shock collars. And every time we bring up an anecdote, he just fucking gives it to us, okay? He just shocks it. Just shocks. So it's massive shock. All right, right to your throat. I wanted to like shoot up your jugular veins and into your brain. Okay, I want you to be, when he hits you with that shock, I want the conservatives to be seeing fucking like static TV. Okay, that's what I want. And you know what? I'll 100% do it. It's like the Yu-Gi-Oh duel, when you die in the game, it's like that Pokemon game. It's those Pokemon fights where the trainers also have like shit on them that hurts when their Pokemon gets hurt. Just like that. That's what I need.
That Black people disproportionately live in poverty. That does not mean that all Black people live in poverty.
Why?
That doesn't mean that just if someone is Black, they live in poverty.
Why?
I just explained to you the reason why is due to, yes, largely policies like redlining and the drug war. So, for example, we have the policy of the drug war, which was implemented with explicit intent to screw over the Black community. That is what Nixon said. He said we couldn't make it be illegal to be Black, but we could associate the Blacks with crack cocaine and heavily criminalize the cocaine. So when we talk about like the fatherlessness issue in these Black communities, part of that is due to the fact that a bunch of Black people are being disproportionately locked up for rather minor drug offenses. This tears families apart again.
No, I'm sorry. You know what tears?
It's not just culture. And why do they have that culture?
What tears families apart is the enabling of that bad behavior. We are talking about people that are committing crimes and then saying that they get screwed over. You committed a crime. You got to own up to it.
But they're not saying that.
And also, hold on. I got to push back. Also, you just said something about that. That the reason that people are in poverty is because of something dealing with whatever. I'm gonna go look this up. I don't know exactly what the how they label the stats, but there is something that you can find data on this where it shows you that Black people in America rank the lowest when it comes to financial maintenance, when it comes to opening up a savings account, building credit, things like that, and they spend more on physical goods, jewelry, cool cars.
But why? But why do they do this? is. It's like it's almost as if sometimes disproportionately they lack the education on how to better handle money. And when you lack that but you lack education because you're living in poverty and the local schools are funded by your tax dollars. So when you're living in poverty, you also get a lesser education, which leads you to puts you in a situation where you're more likely to make those situations or make those decisions. Also, just really quick, people in your chat keep saying it's culture. There can be a cultural element to it, but again, we would have to ask why that culture is. And secondly, where people say I'm a white messiah or trying to educate a black woman, very nice identity politics, guys. But anyway.
I get what they're saying, because you have to understand the irony of a white man telling me these things.
No,
I have seen these things in my neighborhood. And having someone
nice Idpol. Nice Idpol. Oh, actually, well, there you go. You know what, Gothix? We finally got an answer out of Gothix. That's what she agrees on. She does Idpol. Okay, I see. She loves the Idpol. That's the lefty policy she agrees with. All right, good. I'm so glad that we figured it out. This is why she's not a conservative, guys. Yeah, conservative. Oh, yeah, but no. Conservatives love their Idpol. This shit is insane.
That looks different to me telling me that's not true.
It doesn't matter. But this is what you're doing is the equivalent of someone telling me I can't have an opinion because I'm white.
I did not say that.
You're saying that it's ironic that I'm white telling a black person about something. You're invoking identity politics right now.
Okay. In any case, your argument is that because of all of these systems, these things are in place. This is why it is affecting black people disproportionately. But also, you did say that this type of thing, in order to fix it, has to do with being in the home. It starts in the home, right? Is that what you were saying earlier?
Well, when it comes to personal responsibility, that's something that needs to be fixed within the home. But when we're actually talking about opportunity, and these communities largely lack opportunity, we're talking about policies like investing money to try to build up businesses. A rough idea I thought of is like incentivizing businesses to establish there. Trump actually, unfortunately, it didn't quite work out as well as it could have, but Trump, credit to him, he had a really good idea called, I think they were opportunity zones, where he was incentivizing businesses that could go in these black communities. And although it ended up not quite working out how it was supposed to, the idea was 100% there. So there are policies that we can take to fix these issues on a broad sense, and then there's an individual way that we can fix these issues within the family. But the government and policy, that doesn't really mesh with the family very often. Usually it's the government's trying to make like a broader policy, right, to affect large groups of people.
I just don't understand how you're expecting that something, if you're saying that, I believe personal responsibility is like the tip top, like the creme de la creme of something that someone would need to succeed in life. And if that is not being taught in the home, I don't think there is any policy, no movement, no nothing that will be able to force someone in order to have that personal responsibility until you actually address the problem. And my frustration, to make it very clear, comes from when I deal with people who does not have that real life experience. And I have seen these things growing up and telling me that this is something that can be fixed on a societal level or on a system level, when I know that some people simply don't have that ability to self-reflect or use personal responsibility. Okay.
We all know Gothix lacks the ability to self-reflect, because if she did, then half the shit that she said during this debate wouldn't have came out of her mouth. But here's a really important thing that I don't think gets talked about too much. When you're poor, when you're in a bad situation, here's the thing, is that a lot of people in like poor communities, they typically don't make more bad decisions than people in wealthier positions do initially. See, it's not like it's baked into them. Once you're in like a poor community, you'll start just making all of the bad decisions or something, right? Here's the thing. If you have someone who makes the same amount of bad decisions, let's say 2% of all of the decisions that they make are bad, okay? Just 2%. It's the same for someone who comes from a home who's like the single mom, and there's 3 kids in the home, and they live on ends meet, all right, in a really bad neighborhood. Let's say that, and they eat like the blocks of government cheese like mice, a Pinky in the Brain style, all right? They do that, and he has the same amount of bad decisions as does like a person from a wealthier community. If they both go out into the world, just for the simple fact that he was born in a place, in a situation where he's closer to the poverty line, and every decision that he makes matters more. He's more likely to be incarcerated, more likely to be on drugs, more likely to have poor outcomes, simply because he's closer to the poverty line. Every mistake that you make financially, situationally, when you're poor, can put you on the street. And it's not the same for someone who lives in the fucking suburbs, or someone who lives in like the giga suburbs, and like each house is on like 4 acres of land, and all the houses cost $4 million each. I'm sorry, that person, more likely than not, they can make more mistakes than a poor person does, but still end up way better than the poor person does, simply because of how the situation is. It doesn't matter. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't do this isn't saying that you shouldn't make any good decisions. I'm just saying that we can have the same amount of personal responsibility. You have to do better to overcome those obstacles. You have to be much better than your average person. She's arguing that you just have to be like your average like person doing well. You have to be better than your average person doing well. Because if you don't, Every mistake that you make, just like the average person, couldn't put you on the street, which doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't make any sense that this is like, you'll end up in the same place if you make just the same amount of good decisions. You have to make better decisions. And because of that, making better decisions than your average person is exceptional. You will have to be exceptional. And not everybody from a community can be an exceptional person. It's just not going to happen.
And you're making it more difficult.
Well, the couple things is when you invoke your lived experience, again, that is by definition identity politics. It's not bad if you want to bring in identity politics, but you should just admit that it's identity politics.
What are you basing your position on?
What do you mean?
If my lived experience as a black woman and what I'm saying to you about Black American culture, what are you basing your positions on?
I don't need to base it anything on my like personal experience. Rather, I'm able to base it on looking at like from a policy level. Again, I'm not trying to tell black people that they need to just go like do better or whatever. I'm talking about broad policy again. So I want to lay out an example for you. So I agree that having the drive to go out and work for what like the best outcome you can get in this life is absolutely important. And that is a value that should be instilled in the home. But let me lay out a scenario. Let's say in the home, there's the mom and the dad, and they instill these values that say, you need to work really hard. You need to do as best you possibly can. Okay. And then their child goes out and maybe they're living in one of these poor communities. And then you know what would happen? They go and apply for a job. And you know what? If they have a black sounding name, I'm sure you've heard this study brought up repeatedly. It's come up multiple times. It's been replicated a couple times too. Black sounding names are less likely to get callbacks when they apply for jobs. So that right there is a way that bias can affect black people, even if they are working, like you said, taking personal experience, taking personal responsibility, doing the absolute best thing they can possibly do. They could still run into roadblocks outside of their control due to systemic racism. Again.
Well, as you see, Hunter, I applied for a job and then they called me back. Curious, isn't it, Hunter? How about black people just get calls back? Have they ever thought of that?
It's not a dichotomy. Rather, it's just work as hard as you can, and let's also address some of these systemic inequalities.
I don't believe that someone is doing the best as they can if they stop at my name sounded like an ethnic name and I didn't get a job.
That wasn't what was done. That wasn't so that would have been invoked. First of all, you shouldn't shit on that because that would have been using a personal experience, and that's what you just tried to use on me.
If you could let me finish, I'd be able to finish my argument.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
This is going great.
No, snark isn't really helping, but it's okay.
You know what? It's that Puerto Rican and Cape Verdean. I just got to use my identity politics when I can.
Her name is Vanessa. She's named as the same as fucking Dr. Doofenshmirtz's daughter, and she's going to sit here and talk and then shit on the people who don't get calls back because of their names. Incredible shit.
It is what it is. So I fucking had a brain fart. This is why I don't like interrupting.
Can I step in? Can I step
in?
Just really quick, I want to address. Someone said that study was done like a decade ago. Two really quick things. One, you're right, it was done a decade ago, and then it was replicated again, and then again. So it's been done actually 3 different times. Second of all, it wasn't just one experience or whatever. It was actually a controlled study where they sent out resumes that were identical, and the only thing that was different was a black sounding name, and the black sounding names were significantly less likely to get a call back. People are saying I sound like a racist. Again, we're pulling the Hunter's talking about stats that makes him racist card. Not sure what the point of that is, but again, I just wanted to address that really quick.
I remember, hold on, Sign, I just remembered what I was going to say. Okay, so, back to the black sounding name. My point that I was making is that I often hear that as an argument about black people being disproportionately, whatever. I look at that as an excuse. If we're talking about pulling up your bootstraps and persevering and overcoming adversity, my first thought is, why the hell would anyone want to work for a job that wanted to discriminate because of your name anyway? And also, I would even go as far as saying there's other jobs out there. There's other things to do. A common argument that I hear, for example, on the topic of, if we think about hate speech, for example, what if somebody's working for a racist job? Why the hell would you want to work for a racist boss anyway? Just go somewhere else.
Against that. Like, yeah, it
doesn't matter if there's laws against it. My point being, having the choice to make your choice in life. I didn't say that life was going to be easier, nicer, and everyone's not going to be mean to one another. I said that is the reality, that people will always be mean to one another.
What the fuck is happening? Is Gothix against civil rights? I'm genuinely curious. Is Gothix against like the 1964 Civil Rights Act? Is she just like, well, if those people weren't going to hire black people or let them vote, why would you want to vote in a state that wouldn't want you to vote? How about you just move? She's so fucking dumb. It's incredible to me. Are there like, he can never wait for her to speak. Take turns, please. What the hell is happening? I want to know why you flexing on Twitter, Hunter, instead of chasing clout. I'm gonna commit sewer slide. I'm gonna find the nearest sewer and I'm gonna slide right into it. This is, man, we need to bring back duels, okay? You cannot debate these people. You must duel them. That's the only way. They only respect power, okay? They're like orcs. They're just like orcs. You have to duel them. You have to kill their leader, and that's the only way that they'll respect you. They're literally just like orcs. Ooga booga bonk is all they know.
Well, yeah, don't you think it's lame that people are not able to?
It is lame.
Isn't it lame that people, if they're cursed with a black sounding name, they're suddenly like less likely to get hired in certain aspects? Like that
sucks.
That's a way that black people are specifically disadvantaged compared to white people. That would be systemic racism. You're conceding my point right now.
That sucks. How bad do you want the job?
Okay, so then you're just.
That's where I'm going. How bad?
What? What is happening? What's happening? How How bad do you want the job? What are you going? Is she going to say change your name to something that's not black sounding? Please don't do it. Don't become like a literal. Don't do it. No way is she going to be like change your name to like Bob or something if you're named Tyrone. Don't do it.
So you realize what you're saying, which is no matter what happens, it's just on them to do better.
Job?
It's just on them to do better no matter what, which is unrealistic ultimately when we're talking about broad systems. I already conceded that they should do as well as they can. But if you're being discriminated against simply because your name sounds ethnic or whatever, that is absolutely a way that black people are disadvantaged compared to white people. And that would be systemic racism. Okay. Correlation doesn't equal causation. I never said it did. But again, there was a significant decrease there. It was far more than just correlation. All
I'm saying is that systemic racism or not, this conversation, the semantics of what is occurring in society, the systemic racism, because I just put it bluntly, how bad do they want the job? My mom came to this country when she was really young. She had multiple jobs, single parent, probably dealt with a lot of bullshit, and somehow she was able to make it. So how bad do you want the job?
It doesn't matter because they're not even getting interviewed. They're not getting called in initially.
Never?
No, because they have an ethnic sounding name. That's what I said.
All of the interviews, they couldn't get any of them?
Is that what I said? Is all of them? I'm talking about disproportionate. I'm talking about disproportionate. A disproportionate way that black people are negatively affected. Okay. If they're unable to even get a call in to do an initial interview,
another anecdote.
You can't use the how bad you want the job then.
With all due respect, you're making black people sound very disabled right now. And
you are.
I'm gonna This is the most painful. I don't remember a discussion this painful in a while. I don't remember a discussion this painful in a while, in a really long time. Are we sure this isn't like her? Was this on Halloween? No, it was today. Are you sure this isn't like fucking Rob Noor's Halloween costume? He dressed up as a black woman. Is it going to be like fucking Scooby-Doo? You like rip the mask off and it's going to be Rob Noor under there? Like, I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you pesky sock dems. I hate my life, man. What is this? What's happening right now? I can't. I like if you're in a position where you're where you're like poor and there aren't that many good jobs, but then the pool of jobs you have to choose from gets shrunk down even more just because you're black. Don't you think that's bad? Because of that, you have to work exceptionally hard. You have to be an exceptional person, not an average person, an exceptional person. For that to happen, not everyone can be exceptional. That's why it's called exceptional. You are the exception, not the rule. How bad do you want it though? How bad do you want it though? Bleach your skin, dumbass. Bleach your skin. Bleach your skin, change your name. How bad do you want the job though? I hate my life.
I'm actually saying that there are systems in place that are disadvantaging black people, and you're saying, well, it's true that black people are disproportionately in these negative circumstances, but that's because they're just fucked up. That's what you're saying right now.
No, I did not say that. I said, let's go with it. If you think this is the reality, if your reality is black people are disproportionately have a disadvantage, what now? That is the point that I'm trying to make.
I told you.
What now?
First, we need to come to an agreement that that's actually a reality. And so far, we're not even able to get past that point.
Next.
Okay, great. So then we need to actually start looking at policy. So for example, Joe Biden's doing something I really agree with, which is investing $2.5 billion into a specific black community that was torn apart by a highway that was installed. This is a good example of systemic racism where, again, this was not anything that was intended to fuck over black people. It was just putting up a highway. But in doing so, they disproportionately negatively impacted black people, which makes it a system negatively impacting black people. That is systemic racism. And the way that we fix that is to further invest in those communities. Again, provide jobs.
Can you give me a more general, something more general, because that affects a very small percentage. I don't know how many people live near that bridge. So a more general.
Yeah, again, it's kind of the idea of investing in these communities and not just throwing money at them, not just giving everybody money, but rather investing in these communities. Like I brought up, incentivizing businesses to actually go in these communities, which would provide jobs. I mean, I'm not a policymaker, so I have like some broad ideas and understandings of how we can ameliorate these flaws. But again, it's going to really come down to, first and foremost, we have to be willing to agree that this problem even exists.
Okay, you didn't really give me any examples. I'm just going to say that, and I would hope that you would have those examples prepared if you're telling me that my anecdotal evidence of my lived experiences don't mean anything, and you're telling me that we need to.
I hate my life. Your anecdotal experience never meant anything. Okay, it never meant anything. It was absolute. It never means anything. It never meant anything in the past. It doesn't mean any. It won't mean anything in the future, and it doesn't mean anything today. It never has meant anything, and it never will mean anything. Okay, so don't sit here and try to pretend that it did. It never meant anything at any point in time since the Big Bang to now. Since the Lord Almighty on the first day made the heavens and the earth. All right, it never meant a single thing. He's trying to pretend it made a thing, and he's invalidating it. It was invalidated by its mere existence. So don't sit here and try and tell me that, oh, my anecdotal experience isn't good enough. It was never good enough. Having no data is actually better than having anecdotal experience.
did start changing things on a policy level, and you give me an example about some bridge somewhere.
It was a highway, and it was a specific example of where a policy was implemented that went right along the line of what I was advocating for in the broader community. That was a complete and total direct answer to your question.
Okay, and you're talking about going into these communities and investing. You're saying not to throw money at them, but investing, and you don't really know what that looks like. And the only thing that I can really go, I mean, that's what you're saying. You're not familiar with policies. You're saying go back into these communities and invest. But what is that going to do if we're not teaching people personal responsibility, like you said?
Well, again, we can also do that, but you asked me for a policy, and I already told you there's not going to be a personal responsibility policy. Another policy we could work on too is getting rid of the drug war, so we could decriminalize drugs.
Okay, we can decriminalize drugs, okay, but that's not going to stop people from taking the drugs.
I can't do it. I can't keep doing it. I can't keep going on like this. It can't continue. It can't continue like this. It cannot continue like this. I can't keep doing it. I can't keep watching this. This has become a form of self-harm. I'm gonna need like an intervention if this keeps up. I can't do it. Okay, just taking the drugs isn't the problem. Being arrested, being criminalized, being thrown in jail, losing your life, losing your property, that's also a big problem when it comes to drugs, okay? And giving them proper aid and not jail is actually preferable to getting them off drugs, Mr. Gothix, okay? Listen to it, go on. I'll give it one more minute.
That's not going to work on
but it's going
personal
to stop people getting
responsibility.
arrested for taking the drugs, which is going to stop tearing up communities partially. And then also what that would do is it would cut out the need for gangs and drug cartels, which oftentimes, again, infiltrates these Black communities since they're already disproportionately poor and more adversarial with the police. So there's various different policies that we can look at. I just gave you two, though, off the top of my head, so I don't think it's fair for you to say that I don't have any policies.
Okay, oh, that was good. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you. I'm just going to leave it at that.
There was someone else in the comments that said something I wanted to, that racism requires intent. No, it doesn't. That's why we differentiate between personal, interpersonal racism and systemic racism. So again, the way I define systemic racism is a system that negatively impacts a racial group disproportionately. So you could even argue that the welfare state is systemic racism because it wasn't supposed to be racist, but it it negatively impacted the Black community. So
okay, yeah. Yeah, that's I can't keep doing it. I can't keep watching it. It's going to hurt me. I won't recover. I have to fly to Texas at the end of the week. I can't keep watching that. It's going to take years off my lifespan, okay? I love you guys, but no way. No way in heaven or earth could I possibly. If you send Gothix your no more racist leaders, do you think that she would short circuit? Yeah, probably. She wouldn't take it well. It'd be like pouring a McDonald's Sprite on a laptop. It would just like melt it or something. It just like alien blood through a hard steel plate, just absolutely eviscerate whatever's left of the brain that's inside of her head. Using her logic, I came up with a metaphor. So there's this Black guy who's stranded on a desert island and I'm on a boat. He asked me for help to get him back to the States so he can improve his life. And I tell him, how much do you want it? Just swim. If I help you, that means I'm racist actually, because it would imply that I think all Black people are disabled. You can be indoctrinated into these beliefs by a lot of different sources, and it seems correct, right? Like on the face, it seemed like the correct position to be like, oh, if society were to improve, just individuals do better, and when all individuals do better, then society gets better because society is made out of individuals, right? But which I mean sounds correct. That's why they harp on the personal responsibility thing. That's why they want to lean on that so much. Even if you break through the whole, yeah, you are disenfranchised, but just like do better. It seems like it makes sense. And then all of the other positions kind of like roll off of that because you're assuming that now if they just do better, like the people who already are doing fine, then it's going to be great for you, right? It doesn't work out like that. It like society just doesn't work that way. It's a really superficial and it relies a lot on rhetoric. That's why it's a right-wing talking point. Right-wing talking points rely heavily on rhetoric because they don't have anything more than rhetoric. Once you break down into that, it doesn't make any sense. How do you get personal responsibility if you live if it's so hard to be able to go places? And what does personal responsibility mean? You can be doing better if Black people did as well as white people did, just generally on average. If the averages were the same, Black people would still be behind because of the system that holds them back. They'd be doing better, but nowhere near as well. So even if you could do that, they wouldn't make it up to that level. They all would have to be exceptional. They would all have to be the exception for them to move on, which she doesn't factor into her analysis because she's still stuck in, well, I'm here and I'm sitting in front of a $400 microphone and I made good decisions, and the only reason why someone else isn't here is because they made bad decisions. It's like baby's first introduction into sociology, and it's just completely wrong. But on its face, the rhetoric makes a lot of sense. But under that, under the surface, like it's like a little scratch and sniff, okay? Once you give it a little sniff, the whiffy, you realize that it's just completely incorrect. All right, let me go give the dog a treat and then we'll move on, okay?